Alexis. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's so nice to meet you guys.
Fantastic. When Jews are funny. Could you please give us a brief synopsis of this?
Absolutely. So, our director, Alan Zweig, he actually won a Genie a couple of years ago for his film A Hard Name. And he was feeling a disconnection from his Jewish heritage. And so he decided to sort of explore that through comedy. And so we went about setting up interviews with everybody from the sort of old guard, Norm Crosby, Shecky Green, Shelley Berman, to some of the younger guys, Andy Kindler, Mark Maron, Eugene Merman, Modi, who I sadly didn't know before the film, but we met him in New York and he was absolutely hysterical. So, and the film is just this exploration of his loss of connection to Judaism and how he could find that again through comedy, and is there a loss of Jewish identity as sort of there's an assimilation, and as we get to be third and fourth generation away from the people that came over from the old country. So.
And could you also give us a brief kind of like how you got involved in this production, and your role as an associate producer? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I actually I wore a couple of hats on this film. I started with Suddenstrom Entertainment, which is the production company, as an executive assistant about just over 2 years ago. And as I was working with them, they gave me the opportunity to kind of step in and help on this film. It was greenlit and it was just going into pre-production. And so it was everything from sort of identifying the comedians that we would go out to actually making the calls to their agents and setting things up. And I became the production manager. So I set up the trips, we booked the travel, booked the crew, and set these weeks. We did 2 weeks in LA and a week and change in New York. We sort of went back for 1 day of interviews. And so that was my primary job, making call sheets, getting the crew together, really handling the paperwork side of it on the menial level, sort of not the overarching financial stuff, but all the rest of it. Release forms, getting cast and crew. And so, and then I was also asked to supervise the post-production, which was fantastic because I just got this opportunity to really be with the film from pre-production all the way till the end. And so it feels very much like I feel very close to this project because I got to see it start from funding development documents to sort of get funding all the way through now to us screening at TIFF on Tuesday, to this fantastic audience that laughed, and we've sold out our screening tonight and our screening on Sunday. So we're really, really thrilled.
Wow, that's really, really great to hear. I'm so glad that it's doing really well and that you're here. I also wanted to know, do you find that being potentially like a female in this industry, like how has that been of any significance in your, in your aspirations and like your career path?
I'm really lucky to actually know some incredibly strong women in this industry. I've met Bridget Berman several years ago through Suddenstrom Entertainment, and she is an icon to me. She has such a strong, incredible voice in documentary film, and she really is a role model because she doesn't allow being female to affect anything other than just, she gets things done and she is great. There are proportionately, I think, a slightly lower number of women, but I think as long as you're willing to sort of have your voice be heard and not, I don't know what the right word is, but just sort of not defer and allow yourself to be strong and have a voice, then it doesn't actually matter. It's made me want to tell stories about women. So, we're in the process of, we just shot our first short film, I just shot my first short film. And it's really about a female character and her moment in this conversation. It's about her side of the conversation. So I'm excited to sort of see more of that. I know there is a trend to getting more sort of female stories on film, and I'd love to be a part of that. So
great. And also, what kind of advice would you give young aspiring females or male students who are looking to get their foot in the door in the industry? Like, what would you tell them? How would you tell them to get started?
Honestly, you're going to start and you're going to work for nothing. But say yes and take the jobs. And whenever somebody says, can you do this? If you have any reasonable expectation that you might be able to do it, say yes and do it and go for it, because half of the opportunities you get are just because you're in the place and you do something and then somebody remembers that you did that. So just always, work really hard and be there and show up and give it everything you have, because people respect hard work, and it'll take a little time to be rewarded for it, but it does pay off.
And when you were in university, what were you studying, and how did you decide to end up becoming a filmmaker and producer and end up in this industry at all?
This is a ridiculous story. So I was actually in school for political science. And when I graduated university, I decided I wasn't interested in working in politics, having been in Ottawa for 4 years. And I started my own company. I was making soap and skincare products. And over the course of doing that, I was offered an opportunity to go and be a personal assistant to a musician who was going on tour. And so I did that for several years. And then I moved back to Toronto. And through sheer luck, I basically found this assistant job that has opened all of these doors. And it's sort of given me the opportunity to realize that all of the things that I really love doing come together in this medium. Being in film, you can be a little analytical, and you can get funding documents together, and you can be creative, and the possibilities are endless. I always loved photography, and now I get an opportunity to really look at framing and color. And so it's just sort of the best of all the worlds. I don't think I allowed myself to imagine that this was something I would be able to do. And now that I'm here, I can't imagine being anywhere else. So
great. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, thank you guys so much. And it's been really great meeting you. And hopefully we'll see you guys again soon.
Thank you so much. Awesome.